Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, the invasion continues in Ukraine despite peace talks. We'll have developments. Plus, a radio host sounds an alarm for Christians. You can't be disengaged politically when it comes to the challenges America is facing in its educational system.
Our world is what it is, especially here in America, where we have a Judeo-Christian founding, because of the inactivity of Christians.
Then later, see why some believe the Biden administration is using the spike in gas prices to push a green energy agenda.
We have 500 years worth of coal. We have 150 years worth of oil. We're not running out of it. We just need to drill for it. And that's not happening right now.
All these stories and more are coming up next from the CBN Newsroom.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
We begin this half hour with optimism waning for a ceasefire as Russian shelling near the Ukrainian capital city of Kyiv continues. Despite claims the Kremlin would scale back its invasion of the area. Meanwhile, new intel suggests Russian President Vladimir Putin may not be getting the full story from his military advisors. National security correspondent Caitlin Burke has more in today's top story.
A communications breakdown in Moscow could be keeping President Putin in the dark about the effects his war is having on Russia. New U.S. intel suggesting his advisors are afraid to tell him the truth.
According to recently declassified reports, Putin is unaware that his military has been using conscripts, or troops forced to enlist, and taking heavy losses. He's also not getting the full picture of how economic sanctions are damaging the Russian economy. This new intel comes a day after Russia promised to scale back operations in certain parts of Ukraine, a pledge U.S. officials regard with skepticism.
I don't read anything into it until I see what their actions are. We'll see if they follow through on what they're suggesting.
There is what Russia says, and there's what Russia does. We're focused on the latter. And what Russia is doing is the continued brutalization of Ukraine and its people. And that continues as we speak.
The Pentagon does see signs of Russian troops withdrawing from Kyiv, but warns that movement is likely more designed to bolster forces in the eastern part of the country. As the war drags on, the number of people forced to leave their homes continue to grow.
Today we crossed the 4 million mark. I think it's a tragic milestone. It means that in less than a month, or in just about a month, 4 million people have been uprooted from their homes, from their families, their communities, in what is the fastest exodus of refugees moving in recent history.
That was Caitlin Burke reporting. President Biden spoke with Ukraine's president for more than an hour Wednesday, pledging another $500 million in aid and considering more sanctions against Russia. Our senior international correspondent George Thomas is with us now from Lviv, Ukraine. So, George, what do you make of the UK report claiming that Putin wasn't aware of the huge losses facing his military?
Yeah, I mean, I find that absolutely staggering. I mean, this is, after all, the commander-in-chief of the Russian army, and the fact that he would not know what is going on the battlefield in a major operation, I find absolutely stunning to believe. But also, you have to remember that this is an army that has not been well prepared, not very well losses that they've incurred, and obviously, this is a huge challenge for the Russians going forward.
George, there are reports President Putin has signed a decree with new conscripts into the army. What can you tell us about that?
According to this latest decree, about 135,000 Russian troops have been signed up. They've gotten their orders. The Russians say that it's part of their annual spring, sort of draw up. The question, Ephraim, is we're not sure whether any of these troops will be heading to the Ukraine theater. We've seen anywhere between 7,000 to 15,000 Russian troops have reportedly lost their lives in this battle. So the question is whether this 135,000 troops are going to be coming here to Ukraine to fill in the gaps, those areas that soldiers have been killed.
George, you are now at the Ukraine-Poland border where hundreds of thousands have fled since the war began now. What are you seeing now? Are people still fleeing?
Close to about 10 million Ukrainians have been displaced as a result of this war. 4 million of them have headed to the neighboring countries. About 2.5 million have taken this path, this road right here, heading to Rawaruska, where they cross over into the Polish border. What's interesting is that now we're seeing an opposite trend where Ukrainians are feeling brave and strong enough to come back to Ukraine because they see the tremendous achievements and the pushback that their army has managed to make, especially around the capital city of Kyiv. So all this month we've been reporting how there's been this mass migration, mass sort of exodus. But today there are reports that Ukrainians are actually coming back home.
All right, George Thomas reporting for us from Lviv, Ukraine. I want to remind you at home, if you're looking for a way to help, you can help Operation Blessing's disaster relief effort in this horrible war and humanitarian crisis in Ukraine. Simply call 1-800-700-7000. Let us know that you want to give to the Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund. Now, you can also write us at CBN Center, that's Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23463. Simply note in the memo line of that check, Disaster Relief Fund. And you can text as well. Text OB Crisis to 71777, or you can go online to our website, cbn.com, as well as ob.org. Anything that you're able to do is greatly appreciated. In other news at this hour, severe storms overnight caused severe tornadoes, packing high winds across several states in the Deep South. There's damage to many homes and buildings and thousands of power outages as well. Widespread damage in Mississippi's capital. Video captured a tornado in the downtown area, and a large tree fell down outside the governor's mansion. At least 7 people were injured when a reported tornado hit northern Arkansas. The storms are now moving into western Georgia and Florida. A court in Finland dismissed all charges of hate speech against a Christian member of parliament and a pastor. Those charges were filed after they shared what they believe the Bible teaches about homosexuality. Adil Hurd is on the story.
On trial were Finnish lawmaker and former Interior Minister Päivi Räsänen and Bishop Johanna Pohjola of the Evangelical Lutheran Mission. Also on trial was the Bible itself and whether quoting the Bible is a hate crime. Finland's own constitution instructs the state church to proclaim the truths of the Bible. But when Päivi Räsänen challenged the church to do just that, she was charged with a crime. Prosecutors accused Räsänen of committing hate speech on 3 occasions. In a pamphlet about biblical marriage published almost 20 years ago, in a broadcast interview, and in a 2019 tweet in which she questioned why the state Lutheran Church was officially supporting Finland's Gay Pride Week.
In my tweet, I directly cited Romans 1st chapter and verses 24 to 27 and posted a picture.
A passage which condemns homosexuality. It's biblical teaching that the Finnish constitution says it supports. The Lutheran pastor who published the pamphlet Päivi wrote on Christian marriage was also found not guilty. Räsänen says she does not regret the ordeal she's had to go through, saying she's received letters from homosexuals who accepted Christ after reading about her story. Her trial has also helped awaken many Christians in Finland who rallied to her defense.
I have a very, very strong feeling that this has been my calling. In some way, this has been a hard time, but in some way, I have felt that this has been a privilege.
Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Coming up, find out why this radio host is sounding an alarm, saying Christians cannot be disconnected when it comes to our educational system in America. Stay with us.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead. Just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
When it comes to America's education system, one vocal radio host is asking, how did we get to this point? Appearing on this week's episode of The Global Lane, Stacey Washington says it's happened because Christians are disengaged from politics.
A lot of Christians feel like at this stage of the game, it's better to just take care of their own house. So, they attend church, they try to raise their children in the most godly fashion they can, and they serve. And at that point, they're like, what can I do? The world is what it is. But our world is what it is, especially here in America, where we have a Judeo-Christian founding, because of the inactivity of Christians. We actually pay for the cable. We fund the public schools. We pay for the teachers' salaries, the janitors. We pay for the bond issues that improve those buildings. And we elect the school board members. Even if you're not voting, you're still contributing to that election by your non-participation. So, what I'm saying in this book is that we have a responsibility to not just to pay our taxes, but to render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, because in this case, a representative form of government has the citizen as the highest officer in the land, and it is a requirement that we participate. And as Christians, we're supposed to be the hands and feet of Christ. So it's not just caring for the widows and the infirm and those who've been imprisoned. It's also caring for our political processes, because children who are innocent are having that innocence stolen from them through the proliferation of pornographic books in schools and libraries, and the overall critical race theory. It's a curriculum that's being forced down their throats, and it's stealing their innocence, and it's stealing the unity that we have as members of the same country.
Let's talk about critical race theory. That's one big issue that I know you would like to approach from a biblical perspective, critical race theory, even the revisionist history of the 1619 Project. So how should Christians respond then without coming across as being racist?
Well, so first of all, the whole idea that if you oppose something, you're opposing it because of racism is a tactic. And when tactics are employed against you, you come back with the truth. There's no reason to discuss race as a reason to oppose or support critical race theory, because critical race theory comes from critical theory, which is a Marxist ideology, a method by which you can move a society from capitalism to socialism with the end goal being communism. And I explain that in the book. So you actually just come back with the truth. What we want as Americans is true Black history, which means that instead of Black History Month, we have Black history curriculum as a part of our overall history. It's not even Black history, it's just true Black history. Certain Black historical figures played a role in the founding of this country. We've been here since day one. We fought in the War for Independence. We have contributed, and those stories are embedded in the curriculum as a part of the entirety of it, to include slavery, and also then, the war where we fought over slavery and we then eliminated that. And that was our Civil War. And then we move into the modern day era, where all of those struggles have resulted in a society that is the best society to be a minority in on the face of the planet. So your response to anyone who wants critical race theory is that 1619 Project and Hannah Nicole Jones, they have an actual end goal in mind that has nothing to do with education. It's about the destruction of our society as we know it. We want to knit our society together and to promote it and to preserve it. So we have to come in with the truth, with love, but we can't back down.
And I know you said you may go to hell for saying this. You were opposing Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. But if she's appointed to the Supreme Court, or confirmed, I should say, she'd be the first woke Supreme Court justice. Everything today seems to be about feelings instead of facts. So what effect is that having on our society, even choosing our Supreme Court justices?
Well, so Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson is actually an ideologue. And she's wholly unsuitable for the Supreme Court, not because she lacks qualifications. She's a double Harvard University graduate. So she did undergrad there, and then her JD is from there. So it's not about her qualifications. It's about her ideological viewpoint, which is clearly antithetical to sitting as a lifetime appointment on the highest court in the land. She actually under-sentenced child pornographers, and she believes in critical race theory. Those two things are disqualifiers. The fact that she refused to define what the word woman was is just kind of a demonstration of the previous two things that I listed about her. So it's the Republicans' responsibility to refuse to pass her nomination out of committee and to force President Biden to send a more moderate or less extreme justice for us to consider. But that doesn't happen without the Republicans having the backbone to do it, without fear of being called racist. Even if you are called a racist, I mean, let's face it, if you're watching this show, you can see that I'm Black. I don't hate myself, and I am also not a racist, but I am routinely called a racist and told that I hate myself because of the views that I hold. So I can choose to listen to that and back down and be quiet, or I can choose to remember that I fear no man because I am empowered by the Holy Spirit to speak truth.
Still ahead, critics of the Biden administration say he is using high gas prices to push a green energy plan. Stay with us.
I am Region's first ROTC graduate student.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Wednesday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
Administering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place, all day, every day. the CBN News Channel. Download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com. CBN News.
America's Secretary of State suggests buying an electric car to avoid the rising gas prices. Suggestions like this has Biden administration critics wondering if he's using the crisis to accelerate a green energy agenda. Dale Hurt has the story.
You may have seen these stickers at gas pumps giving Joe Biden the credit for high gas prices.
This doesn't really change things, but man, it does make you feel good.
This is probably one thing for which Joe Biden doesn't want the credit. The White House blames high energy prices on the war in Ukraine. Prices began rising, however, the day Joe Biden entered the White House, with his cancellation of the Keystone XL pipeline and new moratoriums on oil and gas drilling. Critics accuse the White House of being secretly happy about record-high energy prices as a way to get Americans off fossil fuels. The idea is getting so much traction, the media is calling it a conspiracy theory. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm says no, the White House is not happy about high energy prices, but does see an opportunity.
This president and this administration are looking at every single tool to shield American families from the impact of rising energy prices. And we're working through an energy transition. And we've got to start by adding energy. And the reality is we have to take some time to get off of oil and gas.
Candidate Joe Biden made no secret of his goal to end the oil and gas industry.
I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel, and I am not going to cooperate with it, okay? Number one, no more subsidies for fossil fuel industry. No more drilling on federal lands. No more drilling, including offshore. No ability for the oil industry to continue to drill, period.
And in just 14 months, America has gone from being energy independent under Donald Trump to a nation dependent on foreign oil, even though it has abundant sources of energy.
We have 250 years worth of natural gas. We have 500 years worth of coal. We have 150 years worth of oil. We're not running out of it. We just need to drill for it. And that's not happening right now.
It's important to note that not everything that affects the price of gasoline is within a president's control. But everything that is within President Biden's control, he's been doing wrong. And the list is long.
Energy analyst Ben Lieberman.
There was also a major multi-agency effort on the part of the Biden administration to discourage banks from lending to oil and gas companies. That's important as well. These folks can't do these projects unless they can get the financing for them.
Despite White House rhetoric, critics say little is actually being done to bring down prices. Biden's transportation secretary says if you don't like high gas prices, you should buy a $60,000 electric car.
Clean transportation can bring significant cost savings for the American people as well.
I have never seen a politician be so cavalier about gas prices.
Steve Malloy, editor of the website junkscience.com, says Joe Biden seems to be trying to keep energy prices high.
He right now has a ban in defiance of a federal court order on new oil and gas leasing on public lands. He is doing everything he can to make oil and gas production more difficult, more expensive. And why is he doing that? Because the most important thing to Joe Biden, it seems, is his climate agenda.
House Democrats now want the White House to declare a climate emergency, banning all drilling on federal lands. And White House officials remain focused on transitioning to green energy.
Under President Biden and Vice President Harris's leadership, we're pressing the accelerator to reach a zero-emissions future sooner than most people thought.
But in Western Europe, which is much farther along in the transition to green energy, gasoline prices today are over $9 a gallon in some nations. That's probably not the kind of energy future most Americans want. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Coming up, a concert assists those in need in Ukraine. We're going to show you how coming up next.
October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
Administering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy. Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News. Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Your news channel. Your shows. The stories you care about. Anytime you want. Anywhere you want. Download the CBN News app today.
A concert for Ukraine raised millions of dollars. Artists Ed Sheeran and Camila Cabello were among those who performed. But it was this refugee's story that took center stage. Jamala won the Eurovision Song Contest for Ukraine in 2016. She was on the verge of tears as she performed her song 1944 from Birmingham and holding up her country's flag. All funds raised will go to the Disaster Emergency Committee's humanitarian appeal. Time now for your Thursday Thankful. I hope you will join me in this prayer of gratitude. Father, thank you for the seed you've placed in my hand. Show me how and where to sow this gift. I want to place it where you will bless it and where the harvest will be the greatest. I fully understand you bless me to be a blessing, and today I will make it a day filled where my life says thank you. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel. You can find them there at any time, online as well at cbnnews.com. Let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. Email us, newswatch@cbn.com. We'll see you here tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.